I'm an astrologer, and I want to say thanks for tuning in today. And I'm going to be covering the new moon in Pisces that's coming up on March 2nd. And I'm also going to be talking about a new thing that I'm just starting, which is birthday coupons. So the sun enters into Pisces February 18th, which was yesterday, and it stays there until March 20th. So at that time, it enters into Aries. So as a gift, I'm offering 20% off all to anyone who's a Pisces for any type of reading or healing modality on 1 hour. So that's kind of a fun thing that we're going to be doing coming up. And so that is actually in effect right now. And I'll have a little button on my website and on the email that I send out to share this news. So again, I'm going to be talking about the new moon in Pisces and some of the things, the energies that are occurring with this new seed, this new beginning, this new theme of energy. And I'm also going to be talking about some of the planets that are lined up together and the meaning of them, especially over the United States birth chart, meaning the influences to the United States. So I'm going to be talking about that as well. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some major things that are happening this year, which are let me just get to that page, which is the Pluto Return, which actually happens tomorrow for the first time in reference to the birth chart of the United States. So that's February 20th. So it's what I'm going to talk about that during the show today as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the new moon and where it's occurring at this time on a universal chart, meaning energy that affects everyone in the world. And so this new moon actually brings into the focus the 9th house because it's occurring in the 9th house where in the United States birth chart, Neptune is in that 9th house, which is international, which is foreign lands, which is higher education, and it's also about the truth. And so we also have Jupiter right beside this new moon at 12 degrees. Jupiter's at 14 degrees of Pisces. So that indicates that there's going to be, that this is an important new moon. There's some big points to talk about on this new moon. So having that we have Jupiter aligned up with this new moon, it does indicate optimism, expansion, and it also indicates that that our dreams may manifest this month. It's a really special new moon, and it does give us the opportunity, because it's sextile Uranus, to work on some change, especially in the financial sectors, the financial areas of our communities. And so I'm going to go forward with that. And the other thing that we also have is we have Mercury and Saturn aligned in this chart. And they are actually in the 8th house, which is other people's money, meaning stock market, insurance companies, mortgage. And it's also, 8th house is also recuperation from things that we've been going through physically more than mentally. And so we have Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius at 19 degrees exactly together on this new moon. So what it means is that we're more aligned mentally and we're more focused, and because Mercury is about our expectations, it's about communication, how we think, and having Saturn right next to it. On a negative side, it could be more limiting and there might be some difficult conversations, and it'd be much easier to be pessimistic. But on the positive side, this is a lot about manifesting, about building. So Mercury is about thinking, and this could be helpful in some really savvy energy for business negotiation. And Saturn helps us, the mind, to focus, to promote ideas in a much more structured way. So this is the second important configuration or alignment on this new moon. And then we also have Pluto, Mars, and Venus all at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Very unusual, very, very unusual. And it remains in Capricorn for Pluto only is going to remain in Capricorn for a couple more years. So this configuration is really important. And when Venus and Mars come together, which can only be every 2 years, because Mars takes 2 years to transit through all the zodiac signs. But what it indicates is that there's passionate, creative, romantic, and there could be triggers with infatuating, meaning getting infatuated about especially things to do with power and big business and government. Pluto helps take us deep and is very powerful, so that there's a thrust of enthusiasm. And the other thing I want to say about the Saturn Mercury is this promotes a much more concentrated and serious mindset because of those two planets together. And, especially at this time, 9th house with Russia and Ukraine and foreign politics that we're experiencing. So we're not quite sure how that's going to play out, but, there's a lot of support for foreign international politics in this new moon chart, and things coming together, new things starting. And so the Jupiter, Moon, and Sun in the United States, if you look at the transits of the United States birth chart, they are, let's see here. So the Mars, Venus, and Pluto are actually occurring in the second house of the birth chart. And Pluto is right on top of, just a couple minutes past being exactly on Pluto. So that brings up important information that surrounds money of all kinds. And so I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. And there's, so there's going to be a tremendous amount of focus from the universal chart on other people's money, other people's values, insurance companies, stock market. And it's actually a great support, or a very intense connection, that it's forming a trine to the north node of the moon. So that's very supportive in the area of money, finances, materials. So there's going to be a tremendous emphasis in these areas, and it's more favorable. So here's also some important transits from the new moon to the full moon, which is in 2 weeks. And that is actually on, let's see, the full moon is March 18th. So when you have a new moon start, when you have the energy of a new moon, it's like a seed that's being planted. It is indicating that this is a time to start new projects. But I would highly recommend that you don't start those projects until about March 5th, because on a new moon, there's no light. There's, the sun and the moon are together. So it's beginning to manifest. But by the 5th, when the sun crosses over Jupiter in Pisces, that's going to be, you're going to have a little bit more of an idea of what's expanding, light of the sun shining on Jupiter, prosperous, beneficial. These things will begin to expand. Your dreams will begin to come true. There's a tremendous amount of psychic energy and sensitivity. Pisces is one of the most sensitive signs of the zodiac because it's water, but it's also about our intuitions, our feelings, and our dreams. And so I do recommend that you wait for the sun to cross over Jupiter to act, and wait, just let it develop a little bit and manifest. It'll show you where it's manifesting and where the good luck is. And, if you were to have a chart done, looking at the transits, it would show you in reference to your birth chart where these planet alignments are happening. Really important. Jupiter does give us a sense of promise and hopefulness. So March 5th, important day. And next week, we're also going to have the sun pass over Neptune. And so that's going to be great for trusting your intuition and visions. And it acknowledges, it helps us to acknowledge what we've been feeling, what we've been dreaming about. And so that happens on March 13th. So those are all really important things to be considering on this new moon. And now I want to talk a little bit about like I talked about before, the United States is having Pluto in Capricorn return to the spot it was when we were born back on July 4th, 1776. And it's a very historic event and combination of planets when Pluto directly hits the position at like 5:25, 5:30 till about 7:30 at night on the 20th, which is tomorrow, Sunday. So Pluto is going to be returning to the exact place it was in the zodiac where it was on July 4th, 1776. And that's in our money house. So we are going through a huge transition in the areas of our money, the things we own, intense transformations. And so it's important, though, that we understand that this, some of the significance of this transit. Pluto returns. Those Pluto returns will occur in 2022 on February 20th, which is tomorrow, through its retrograde on July 11th, and direct for the last time on December 28th of 2022. And it does make a real close connection on October 15th of 2023 before Pluto finally moves on. So, and that's going to be the same transit we won't experience for the next 247 years. So this is the first one the United States has ever experienced. So I'm going to go forward here, and in mundane astrology, we can look to Pluto as it signifies the power of the masses, meaning strength, power, control. And it has to do with regeneration and transformation, life and death. The higher vibration of Pluto shows where we can make improvements and better organization can come about. So the lower vibration can indicate social upheavals, power struggles, terrorism, or corruption. So it's important to look at both sides of that. And astrology, we call the more positive side, where improvements are made, things break away or fall apart, and so that we can make improvements. In the U.S. birth chart, Pluto is, as I said before, in the second house, and it deals with finances, the assets of the people, banking systems, capitalism, cash flow, costs, money, currency, price, and stability. So that's all under a very powerful transition at this time. It also rules the U.S. Treasury, wages, and wealth. And the people's money, the second house, is the area where we're really going to be focused on. And that's where the exact conjunction of transiting Pluto, meaning how the outside world is affecting us as a country, is in a very positive aspect and will ultimately bring positive transformation to the second house issues that I've just talked about. So we need to remember that transformations of financial systems may make it a very bumpy road. So it's like, taking something apart, the total regeneration, and then the regeneration of it. So, and we can look more, from a farther standpoint at the transiting Pluto's aspects. The planet is actually opposing the 8th house. So this deals with other people's money, like I was talking about before, specifically the financial areas, the 2nd house and the 8th house, which includes our social security, taxes, international credit and debts, insurance, interest rates, the IRS, money standards, public money, retirement funds, investments. So the 8th house also covers national policies, socialized medicine, pandemics, epidemics, viruses, and totalitarian regimes. So this is a 3 degrees opposition with Mercury and Cancer in the 8th house. And so the direct hits between Pluto and Mercury were in 2020, and they are coming, like I said, starting tomorrow, the direct exact conjunction. So while this transit is diminishing now, Mercury in Cancer was about the country's security, emotional thinking rather than logical thinking, transforming how our country thinks about the public's welfare and taxes and retirement. So when we also look at transiting Venus and Mars, which are conjunct in Capricorn at 19 degrees at this time, which is a pretty broad orb from Pluto at 27 degrees, it will have a significant impact on the Pluto return, but overall gives strength to the chart. So the other interesting energy influences in this chart is the opposing Neptune opposition that occurs exactly on March 1st. So Pluto trines the natal Neptune at 22 degrees of Neptune in Virgo with a 5 degree orb, meaning a 5 degree difference in being exact. So Pluto also sextiles, that's a nice aspect or more opportunistic type of aspect, the transiting Neptune at 22 degrees of Pisces. So Pluto aspects bring positive energy to this Neptune opposition. Pluto's aspect will help us to cut through some of the delusions of Neptune and bringing more truth for us to recognize to the surface. So since this battle for our country is being fought via information rather than guns, the media matters of Neptune's 9th and 3rd house placements are all very important. And this is a really important dance between Neptune and Pluto, and it's going to continue throughout 2022. So there is a growing interest amongst the people that a lot of the trouble we're encountering deals with a planned redistribution of wealth. And so how much of the behavior is associated with big tech, big pharmaceutical companies, the economic world? China and George Soros are really about us stepping up and taking control of our money. So this Pluto return is going to bring about a type of war or revolution of sorts. It seems that whatever direction that the country was set on July 4th, 1776 is going to be revisited. It was when the country was founded and Americans were really rebelling against taxes without any type of support. So it's favorable. It's a favorable aspect, and the conjoining of Pluto, natal Pluto with transiting Pluto offers us a very unique opportunity to regain control of our country. But it's going to be fought mainly using information. And so, this is something that we all need to think about and be aware of. And at this new moon, as this new moon comes, we are, like I said, it's going to be Venus, Mars, and Pluto are going to form this harmonious, beautiful, harmonious aspect. It has been to the North Node and the South Node, meaning the future of our financial sectors, our finances, our money, and the past, where with Social Security, taxes, and investments, stock market. So I wanted to really shed some light on that on today's show. And remember, as I said before, if you're a Pisces, this is your birthday month. And so from February 18th, this is already in motion through March 20th, when the sun enters into Aries, you can get, if you're a Pisces, I'm offering a 20% off coupon for a reading. And readings do include, if you get, future predictions, I can also send you a breakdown of some major transits and a printout of some of those major transits from a month-by-month standpoint. Okay, well, thank you for tuning in to Turn to the Stars. Happy birthday, all the Pisces out there. Take good care, and I'm going to see you next week for another important look at the week ahead.